Whoa, Bear Slayers, I'm back. Got a new version this time, because Bear Slayers, if you don't know, was my very first attempt at making a boot pattern. So this is the very first prototype that we did. And the whole concept of this project was to make the perfect Pacific Northwest boot. You know, the PP&W, the Bear Slayers, this concept of what would be my ultimate brute if I had an ultimate design control where I could take this cool style of boots in P&W boots and fix some of the problems. You know, there's a handful of problems with P&W boots because they're the most extreme heavy duty working boots that money can buy, especially made on US soil. I'm gonna grab a boot for the examples. So what were those problems that everyone has with P&W boots? Oh, I look dead as today. We're getting a haircut tomorrow. Well, one of the big ones was the bite that you get across your instep. No matter how broken your boots are, sometimes at the end of the day, all this leather with the tongue, with the kiltie, with the quarters, right in this instep area, it's a lot of leather bunching up. It's not the most comfortable thing, especially during the break-in. And another thing was they're just really big and heavy. Pretty rigid boots. They're not, and that's because they're work-oriented. They're supposed to support you. They're supposed to give you that custom footprint inside of your boot that you can only get with stacks and stacks of leather. And not that Pacific Northwest boots are suffering from a lack of arch support, but I wanted just to absolutely beef up that arch support, figure out a way to reduce the pain that's caused by this side of the boot, which I don't think we've figured it out yet. I think it's still something we're still trying to figure out how to solve that problem. But then on the medial side, on the inside where you want that arch support, I wanted to build up all that arch and figure out how to get even more arch support out of this style of boots. Another thing was I really like fast lacing systems, and I like the different types of lacing that I learned through firefighting, which is like box lacing, ladder lacing, it's like 2-1-3 lacing, all these different lacing styles. And I just wanted to have even more lacing capabilities. And so that's when we came up with the PPW, or the Bear Slayers. And so the initial thought was, okay, we're gonna add some flex teeth in here to give you a little bit more flex throughout your instep. We're gonna take this counter similar to the Caswell boot we just released, actually, that has a World War I boot where this counter wraps all the way down through here, building up the arch support. But instead of mirroring that on this side, or on this side, I wanted to cut that short because you don't need the arch support on the outside, so it tucks in a little bit neater. Another big thing I really wanted with the Bear Slayers was you can see how wide and anatomical this is. We took the old school Munson last, added a little bit of extra toe room, because that's another thing with these P&W boots is they're notoriously narrow. They just are, you know, this is after breaking in. This is one of my favorite lasts that White's makes their boots on. It's a 4811 last. But they're narrow at the end of the day. And especially the 55 last is even more pointy. And I wanted to take the classic 8-inch height, and because there's two really common boot heights. There's an 8-inch and a 6-inch. 6-inch is almost too low where you can't get a lot of leverage over your instep. 8-inch can be really tall. So I was like 7-inch would be perfect. That's like the perfect height for my perfect Pacific Northwest boot. And initially I wanted to do a 360 stitch down construction, keep all that dirt and grime on the outside, make it a little bit lighter by not having nearly as many nails for the sole construction. And that's when we came out with the first Bear Slayers. And this whole Bear Slayer concept was, like I said, it's the very first boot that we designed in-house. We sent this pattern up to JK to have him make a few samples, and I was gonna bring out the samples, but there's a bunch of samples. And so ended up with this, where we hit the mark in a lot of different ways. But the whole concept of the Bear Slayer, because it was our design, this whole concept that we wanted to really perfect the Pacific Northwest boot, the whole plan was to move it around to different collaborators, to try to slowly perfect this concept by taking it to this collaborator, making a few batches, moving to this one, improving on what we did before, but with the new attributes of this new brand that we work with, slowly honing it in to be this perfect Bear Slayer boot. And we got really close. I could ever dream with the JK pair, because if you look, it's on the OT platform, so it's really flexible. We didn't get the 360 stitch down. We didn't get the super anatomical last. This is fairly similar to the 4811 last, so it's a little bit more narrow, but it's not anatomical. You widen it out as you go, so you don't necessarily get big toe room to more big toe room to ball to foot ratio. It just kind of widens out. They're sick. They're about as cool as they get. And we had to do it with the rough out leather because it's a bear slayer. So I wanted it to be like the brown bear slayers, which this looks like little bear fur because it's so fuzzy. Because this is a bison leather, on the flesh side of bison is really, really fuzzy. And but there was a few things that I wanted to change and a few things I wanted to try, and so that is when we got for 2026 the Nix Bear Slayers. And I have not seen these. I think we nailed the leather choice. You guys have to tell me, and I haven't seen them. But if they did it how we requested, they're gonna be pretty sweet. And so this is gonna be the new Bear Slayers. This would be the new version of the Bear Slayers is gonna be with Nix. But we might move it on to another collaborator next year, the year after. Might even do it this year. Might revisit a few different collaborations, mix it up, because that's something that's gonna be really fun about this. It's gonna be the first collaboration we've done where it's multiple different iterations of the same collaboration, but with different partners, because we spent all the time and energy to really figure this out first and design it and get this pattern perfected as far as we could, and then take it to other collaborators. Because like I said, it's the first boot that we fully designed in-house, this whole concept, all the branding and marketing around it to make that PP&W boot. And so it's just gonna be a really cool way, because you'll be able to have, instead of like the Drifter 1, 2, 3, 4, have like the different Bear Slayers from different collaborators. It's gonna be sick. So I think we're ready to do a little unboxing. What knife? I had a huge knife up here somewhere. This big boy. This is the Demco. I believe this is a titanium. That is not a small knife. I think it's freaking huge. It's heavy, big, thick blade. Okay, ready for the evolution of the Bear Slayers. Let's do it. And these are not going to be easy to make. So they're probably going to be pretty quantities. And this isn't necessarily the final prototype because I haven't even seen it. Might have another round or two of prototypes. We'll see how this looks. So let's do it. The evolution of the Bear Slayers. Probably Bear Slayers 2 is probably what we'll call it. The Nix Bear Slayers. Whoa! Check that out. Oh my gosh. They didn't do the color I requested, but hey, I'll take a little blood core. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. That is so sick. What did we actually change on this? What's new? What's different? What's the same? Well, initially, the whole idea with this was I wanted to keep some of the flexibility of the previous Bear Slayers. And so I wanted to do it on their 360 stitch down construction, do it on their FlexWork Pro platform, because I wanted to keep as much of that flexibility as I could. But because this pattern drops down so excessively right here, there's a lot of material built up through there, so they still had to tuck it in, which ends up being okay, because with it tucked in like that, you get even more arch support, I think. I haven't tried them on yet, we'll see. And, but you do lose some of that flexibility because it's not feathered down to a point. You have that big slab of edge tan leather all through your forefoot. So this will be a little bit less flexible, but what's different? Well, one of the biggest things is that super anatomically shaped Thurman last that Nix is known for, or that Nix has made based off the Munson last. So it's been a well-loved and historical last since I think the start of World War II. And then another huge thing is this whole concept needed this tactical counter from the beginning. This lines up and matches the angles and the aggressiveness perfectly. And so that is a new little improvement I'm really excited about. But one of the biggest ones was the padded collar. Because as a 7-inch boot, like I said, a 6-inch boot almost doesn't have enough leverage to really push this over. And how do I say this? Like a 6-inch boot doesn't have enough leverage to bend the boot enough, and it's not tall enough to protect it, but I sometimes don't want an 8-inch boot. But at 7-inch boot, you kind of split that difference by still keeping it 7 inches, but having it comfortable like an 8-inch boot by giving just a little bit of extra squish, which also is gonna cinch around your ankle a little bit better. And obviously we had to keep the flex teeth, because this is probably my favorite part of this whole boot is unlaced. You've got your 3 eyelets, 3 speed hooks on your flex teeth. That's your 3 flex teeth, or essentially like 4 cutouts, but 3 flex teeth, and then 3 more speed hooks. Because I don't need that top top eyelet to be an eyelet. Speed hooks work just fine for me. Obviously got the kiltie in there, fully gusseted tongue, leather insole, half sock liner. That is a freaking sick bear slayer. So, what did we actually add to improve the bear slayer? What did we lose? Well, the biggest ones are that anatomical Thurman last that's based on the Munson last, the padded collar, and that tactical counter. But we did lose some of the flexibility in the toe by having this full-length veg tan midsole instead of it being feathered down or just rubber like their FlexWork Pro. And so that is gonna be the next bear slayer. But this was not the leather that I wanted to do it on. We still could easily release this as an option for the bear slayers, but there's a specific leather that I want to do it out of. That is not one of our blood core leathers. It's a leather that's similar that Nix has. So I'm gonna see if they'll do me another sample of this in that leather. And I'm also thinking about bringing this little line right here in just a little bit more, just to shade that in, so that you have a little bit more room for the ball of your foot, like that big toe knuckle. Just bringing that in maybe a half an inch, just about like that. I feel like would be really good. Just a little bit more in there. Yeah. It's freaking perfect. Okay, so that's your preview for the bear slayers. We might do one more prototype of that leather that I want to launch them in. And let me know if there's anything you want to change, what we should adjust, what you like, what you don't like. But this is freaking perfect, because look how close. We're getting really close to the original. You got that anatomical shape now. Stitched down construction. It's not 360 yet. Got the flex teeth, added the padded collar. It's a good looking boot. So if you want the Bear Slayer 2.0, they drop on the 18th. So get on a limited edition email list, because I don't think we're doing a full run of these. I think we're gonna have to limit it because it's the first batch we've done with Nix. These flex teeth take a lot of time and energy to cut out and sew through. It's just a more complicated process with the way that this wraps underneath. We didn't try. Almost didn't try it on. What are we doing? Didn't even try them on. Because I'm curious if that additional wrapping under gives even more arch support, because it's going to feel different than the previous one, because it's a different way that this feathered midsole drops down even more. So I'm curious which one has more arch support. And they're different lasts. So first try on the Bear Slayers. Let's see what size they sent me. They didn't say what size. Is it on the box? Not on the box. I don't know what the size is. Ooh. Oh yeah. That's it. That's the one. Whatever the size is fits. I'm pretty sure they sent me a 9.5. That's usually what I get all my samples in from Nix. It's 9.5. So they should fit just like any other Nix boot that you have. Man, lacing these up is so nice with all the speed hooks. And it's even cut for my dainty little lady ankles. Yes. How's the arch support? Oh yeah. That's it. Yeah. I feel like, let me put this up here. I feel like we should bring that in, because I'm feeling a little bit of extra pressure, maybe right underneath the ball of my big toe, that I think if that's brought back just almost half an inch more cut in, that will solve that problem. Man, but that padded collar is nice. These are really, really good feeling. I love that last. They really feel really stable and really like a solid platform underneath your foot. So that's it. So get ready for the Bear Slayer. Sign up for the limited edition email list, because you get early access, you get the sizing guide. And the last collaboration, the Naked and Famous one, sold out in 18 minutes. So you want to get on the email list, and I think that's it. So thank you guys. See ya.